Hi, you guys. Welcome. Didn't take too long. We're almost on time. We are. So I'm also on Facebook. And yeah, there we are. So a little different tonight. There we go. Hi, JR. Hi, love. I'm not going to wait for you to come through the door because you're here. I see you on Facebook. That's great. Just put this right here so I can get a better look at without having to look too far away. There we go. Can you hear me? Yes, JR? Just say so if you can. I put the link, I thought. I'm going to put it in the comments here. And I thought I put the link in. You can hear me great in the comments. Oh, I know why I can't find it there. Okay. But I'm going to see if I can do it. Just 1 second. Bear with me, you guys. I'm going to find it here and put the link in the comments to the Zoom. So I'm hoping you might join us on Zoom, some of you. And so just 1 second, the link is about to appear. There we go. I'm just not the tech whiz, but that's okay. I accept that. And I'm not the tech whiz. There we go. So I think I can do this in here. Hi, you guys. Thanks for being here. Oh, there it is. I think I can make a comment. No. All right, I'm just playing around with this, but I'll figure it out. Yes, I will. I want to put the Zoom information here, although I hoped I'd send it out to enough people, but I just want to post it with the event. And forgive me for not being the tech whiz. I think this is going to work. There it is. So I put it on the comments, and there, that's great. There it is. So I put it on the comments, and there we go. Now, back to there. There's a lag when I do what I just did. So I put the Zoom information on the comments there. Hopefully that's gets us in, and then there we go. Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks, Chair. Thank you. Thank you. JR says that the Zoom information shows on the top. Awesome. Well, here we are. And I've moved into the living room. And tonight, you know, going forward, my intention is to continue to do this. And going forward from here, I'm going to invite people to come and sit with us here at the house, as well as on Zoom, and also to watch on Facebook Live and on YouTube. I don't think that I'm live on YouTube right now, but I promise that I'm going to study this whole Zoom thing to get it better, so that I'm boom. And I always think it's just going to work so well, and it doesn't always come together the way I think it's going to come together. So let me tell you a little bit about how we started this and why I'm doing this. And you know, I can't tell you why you're here, but I can tell you what I think, you know, that we're doing. We started our Monday meditations in almost a year and a half ago, probably a year and a half ago. Or this fall will be 2 years. And we started in my store. We had a store over in Southeast Calgary, and people came in on Mondays for a meditation evening. It kind of started, wow, in the very beginning, it started during the day. And it was crazy. I just remembered that we were going to do a meditation at 10 o'clock in the morning online, and these two wonderful ladies showed up because they had thought we were doing it live, and so we did. And it was the very beginning. It just kind of came together like that, and so that was the beginning. And so Monday nights for over a year, in the store, every Monday night we would have a, you know, kind of 12 to 25 people come for the meditation circle. And then we moved out of there and into my house for a little while. And then we moved down to Scarborough United Church. And then not that long ago, we all had to go home and stay home. And so we've continued to do this way, and where we've been online, fiddling around with Zoom and trying to restream onto YouTube and Facebook and all of that. So, but why we were doing it, what the whole story is it, yep. It started out because so many people were saying to me, David, I really don't know how to meditate, because I was helping people create meditation spaces, and I still have, you know, the material to do that. But back then it was, I don't know how to meditate. I'm not sure, basically, of the how-to. And they wouldn't say it like that. What they would say was, I'd ask them, how's the meditation? And they would say, well, it doesn't work for me. Or my mind is too busy and it doesn't work for me. And that was over and over again what we heard from people. And sometimes folks would come in and they would be, you know, some really amazing long-time meditators would come by, and you could just see how calm they were and how, so I thought, well, let's help people learn to meditate. And I have to be honest that I hadn't been um, a real, I was the same as the rest of you guys in a way that I struggled with meditation. And because the mind had ideas of its own often. And that's been probably my lifelong struggle. But what's come out of this for me, this last almost 2 years, is an awakening that, and I can't say, I can't draw a line. I can't draw a line to say A to B, that there was a straight line, because the road to awakening is not a straight line. And so many pieces fell into place. But I think that doing this week after week has really been a blessing for me. And because I would have to show up and have something in a way to present. And I have for years been helping people with I'm watching Nathaniel eat. It's been for years I've been helping people, but it's different. It's not like this isn't that way. It's more like, okay, I really put me in a place of contemplation, more deep examination, to see what it was that might make a difference as I, went through, this last almost 2 years of doing this. And if I believe with all my heart that if we take the time to help others, we are lifted. We are lifted up. And that has been what's happened to me. And it kind of on an accelerated path. And through the whole thing, I had to close my business, and there was just lots of great trials in this last almost 2 years, and those trials, as I look at them now, are such a benefit, because if we were to be given the gift of consciousness or awakening or awareness without kind of going through the pain, then we wouldn't have the ability to help others so well. I heard Muji the other day was talking about the possibility, what if there was a pill? We could just take a pill and we'd be totally conscious. We would be totally aware. We would recognize that our mind was not the master, and that we had gotten tricked by our thoughts often, over and over again, and we were free. We just took a pill and that was it. Boom, clarity. We saw who we were, and it just happened like that. How many of us would take that? We might think that we would, but I believe that the path, if we stay on the path, if we stay committed to whatever you want to call it, awakening, enlightenment, if we stay committed to consciousness, even though it might be painful sometimes, and we might forget, like, what happens is that the world outside of us looks so real. our problems, our stress looks so real and it affects us and we get caught up in it. And the awakening is that it's not real. Our perception of what's happening is keeps us in misery. So part of the awakening is to realize that we don't know, we can't judge. We think we know based on our very limited information, our very limited belief system, our very limited conditioning. We think we know what's right and wrong. We think we know what's best for us. We think we know, and we don't. We don't. And getting there to realizing, in the 12-step world, we call that step one, really. Most of us don't have it. We just don't have step one. We think we know what's best for us. And if we really recognize it, that in the 12-step world, it says that, we really come to grips with the fact that our life is unmanageable by us. And that the only way we can ever be happy, joyous, and free, which happy, joyous, and free sounds like awakening to me, is through surrender. And we don't get to surrender by taking a pill. We get to surrender often by struggle, by the fight, and thinking we know what's best for us, and judging not only ourselves, but judging not only ourselves, but judging all the situations in our lives, And so who am I to judge? The freedom comes, but fear tells me I can't just rely on the moment. I can't just rely on intuition. But all of the spiritual teachings tell me that that's where life happens. That's the beauty, is that we get to this place where we're no longer struggling. The struggle is gone. We find the peace. And so I'm grateful for the last couple of years, because I recognized in myself how, even though I have been what I'll call on a spiritual path for many years, it's been through the mind. And the mind has been trying to figure out how to live and to get past the mind, to let the mind go, to relax the mind, to release the mind, to say, no, it doesn't work that way. You can never, the mind can never really make it work. Took a lot of, for me, it took 40 years of trying to run the show, and it doesn't mean that they weren't a great, that it wasn't a sweet time, or that I hadn't had some amazing, things in my life. I've had an amazing life, by all standards. But most of that time, there was an underlying dissatisfaction. Yeah, like this feeling that something wasn't right. The mind was always judging and always ready to jump on me, because who did the mind judge the hardest? Me. My mind likes to beat me up, and if I let it. And I couldn't stop it really until I finally really cut it free. I couldn't say to my mind, that's enough. Well, I tried. That's enough. Stop being so hard on yourself. But it didn't work. Tell myself that over and over and over again, and it didn't work. So the question then comes, how do we get to that space of freedom? And our conditioning tells us that something outside has to change. And again, it's not true. The mind thinks, or says, oh, problem's not here, problem's outside, problems, my girlfriend, problems my ex-wife, problems this damn country we live in, problem is I'm getting old, the problem is whatever. And that's what the mind will say, because the mind can't give you the right answer without letting go, without surrendering itself. It just can't. So it's an interesting conundrum. How do we get there if we can't get there through the mind? And this is not I'm not making this shit up. I'm not. I looked under a lot of stones. I cracked a lot of doors open. I read a lot of books. I looked everywhere for what was the answer. And it cannot be found through the mind. And we're in a dangerous spot because the mind's running the show. And so what happens? Eventually, we surrender. I don't even know how to tell you. But if we practice, being conscious, watching the mind, so there's something separate from the mind that's watching the mind. And that separateness, the observer, is something outside of the mind in a way. And it's watching the mind. And now, for me, what's happened is that, and I'm, convinced I'm still in the process of this. It's just gotten to an amazing place, though. For me, the thoughts still come up. Fear will come up. And as soon as fear comes up, now there's this other piece of me that I can't describe that says, oh, look at that. Fear. And it has no power anymore. And it's the same, though, with excitement. Oh, look at that. To be, because they're the same, or sadness or shame. So once we start to identify these things, and we most of our lives, we would be attached to them, and judgment. Oh, I had a list of them, wasn't smart enough, not good looking enough. All just now I suspect that other people have, theirs are different, because they're, heavily narcissistic or whatever. And they say, well, I'm the king of the world, and everything falls into my place, into my plate, and so they have another set of beliefs that are maybe exaggerated on how amazing they are. And, but it still has an emptiness to it because it's still from the mind. Yeah. So maybe, I don't know if I can be heard on this one, but that's how it all began. For years looking and not knowing. I spent time with an amazing teacher, Paul, and Paul would say, you can't find it by looking for it, and you won't find it if you don't look for it. And so all of these little, we see the maze that there's so many signs around from teachers, from cultures of this place. And this place is not even the place. It's, Jesus said, I and my Father are one. Bill Wilson in the 12th, in the big book, Alcoholics Anonymous, said God either is or he isn't. Either he's everything or he's nothing. What is our choice to be? The trouble with the whole idea of God and Father, universal intelligence, is that we've been told that it's separate from us, generally. So we had this idea of a relationship with something that was separate from us. And in a way, it is separate from the mind, but we can't get there through the mind. So it's faith or a knowingness that begins the experience. And as the experience comes, as we feel it, as we know that we're there, we can trust each moment, we can trust each moment that we'll know. And that's the beauty of what comes up, you know. And I mean, we have some grasp of it from the mind, but I remember at studying Napoleon Hill years ago, and his whole idea of act as though the thing that you wanted. So if you wanted to work in this, what I sometimes call the holodeck, this playground, you know, there was Napoleon Hill in his book Think and Grow Rich had a list of the how-tos of how to get there, but ultimately it required faith, required knowing that this thing, whatever it was, or this situation or this experience that you desired was already happening. You act as though it's already happened, and you can kind of trick the universe a little bit with that. And well, the same thing can happen with your relationship with the moment. Act as though you're already there. And what does that look like? It would look like acting as though in each moment, intuition will tell you what's needed to happen. You will know in each moment what needs to happen. I've been with people in my life. I remember one lady who I spent a lot of time with, and oh my gosh, she used to plan in minute detail things that were going to happen in a month, 6 months, even a year away. And I would be like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. And so I've never been really good at that, you know, controlling having an idea that I would control the future, even though I guess I did, because I didn't drop back far enough to rely on the moment, you know. So I was somewhere in the middle of that, and so, you know, what's the benefit? The benefit is that we'll know peace. The benefit is that we'll realize that nothing's missing. And the benefit is that we'll be free. So meditation is one of the ways to, you know, over a period of time, to get ourselves aware that that we're of this space, this emptiness, this isness. And actually, what's happened to me with meditation more than anything else was that I got to observe the crazy mind. So yes, in meditation, sometimes I would drop into the zone, you know, kind of disappear. And in some cases, I couldn't even tell whether I went to sleep or not. You know, what the hell really happened? But it changed, everything changed, you know, through meditation, because I was able to watch my mind. So if you sit and sometimes, you know, people go for like a 10-day Vipassana, and they really realize that they're not their mind. See, we think we are. We think we're our story, you know. Yeah, you know, I had so many identities. How many of you have identities? And you think that's who you are. You really do. And it's just bullshit. It's from the mind. I remember I owned a tile business and I was the tile guy, you know, and my children were young and I was, you know, and I guess I still am. My identity was being somebody's dad. And oh, you're Luke's dad, yeah, you know, or now I'm somebody's granddad. But they're not. It's not really who we are, yeah, and or we become. Oh, I just lost it. Wow. There it is. Ah, for a minute, I lost it, and now I'm back. Oh, my internet's playing tricks on me. I know what happened. It was because of the phone call. I had a phone call come in. It affects my phone, or it affects my. There it is ringing now. Crazy. Hang on, let's see if I can fix this. Yeah, that's technology. You know, I'm accepting that I'm not all that technically savvy, but I'm also feel pretty blessed that I get to do what I'm doing. So what was I saying? Oh, identities. So they're all from the mind. You know, I'm a white guy, I'm a black guy, I'm a native guy. You know, I'm a man, I'm a woman. You know, I've traveled, I've read a lot of books, right? They're all stories about ourselves. And so we're stuck in these stories. And some of them give us status, you know. I remember one time I married this gal, beautiful woman, and she had her PhD. And 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 I at the time I remember feeling that I had, you know, as silly as it sounds, some status because of that. It was just, you know, like, you know, how boring. But that's what we do. You know, we judge ourselves by our work, by how much stuff we have. You know, he's rich, he's poor. You know, in the 12-step world, we judge each other around whether we get it or not, you know, whether we get sober or not, you know, or whether they want it bad enough or not. There's all kinds of these judgments, and they're just not true, you know. And we imagine that we know. And I talked to a fellow today who called me because, you know, he's in the 12-step world for a while, but he's been many years a spiritual student, and but full of certainties. This is this and this is that, and talking about channeling and all kinds of things. And you know, I I'm not certain of anything. Being certain keeps me out of the moment. So if I have any knowing, is that I don't know. And I had another fellow the other day ask me about different authors, and the one that he liked, Abraham Hicks. And I said, I don't know. You know, if you feel something there for you, go in, look at it, you know. And so what a beautiful place to be. What a free place to be, to not know, you know. And now that doesn't mean that when I'm working with somebody like a newcomer in the 12-step world that I don't, you know, have some guidance or advice in on the path, because the path is a very simple path. The path that I'm talking about right now with you is a very simple path. It's a path of surrender. It's a path of paying attention enough to see how our mind makes up story, and then surrendering the story, you know. Mind brings us into fear. Yeah. So that's the path. Now, meditation can help us to see our mind at work. And the mind is just a jumble. There is no mind, really. Where's your mind? Can anybody tell me where their mind is? Do you know where your mind is, Nathaniel?
In my brain.
But it isn't. We can't say, we say my mind, but where is it? And where do the thoughts come from? And is there a place we can actually go in and look at it? No, it's a mess. We have no idea. and it's all these ideas, shit that our mother taught us, that her mother taught her, and from most of it, from a lot of it out of fear. And I look at my mom. Oh my gosh, my mom was angry, and she didn't like men. I happen to be one, so that kind of geared me up to this idea that as a child, that women didn't like men. Now, what a thing for me to hold on to. What a thing. Men can't be trusted. What a thing. Where did that come from? Is that in my mind? Yes. So I can't trust my mind because it's full of shit. So here I am trying to to operate in a world with, like most of us, with a huge handicap. And but if it's working for you, well, you wouldn't be on this call probably, but it doesn't really, then it wouldn't really matter, and many people don't have any idea that there's another way. They really don't have any idea that there's another way. Most of what we call spiritual is dogma, teachings of another way to live, maybe that lifts us up a little bit, because they're based in loving principles, but it's still not connected with the moment. It's still just a new set of values, and that we try to integrate and live into. So, nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And actually that happens a lot in the 12-step world, that men and women come and they don't know exactly what happened, but they realize that they've got a new set of practices, and they, over a period of time, if they actually follow them, they will arrive at this place I'm talking about. Because in our step 9, it says that, we will know a new peace. We will basically become what we call God reliant, as opposed to self-reliant, and God centered as opposed to self-centered. And so that is the living in the moment. That is truly, connected in moment to moment to this infinite intelligence that I'm talking about, that can't be described. So we're going to meditate a little bit. I don't even know what time it is, but hang on. It's 7:51, and let's do that. Let's sit for a few minutes, and when we sit, I'd love it if you join us. Just watch the mind. Just watch it, and recognize that you are able to let the thoughts go, not to change them. Don't fight with them. Don't argue with them. Just let them go. And the way to let them go is to come into the moment, be there. Thought takes us off on a journey often. Thought takes us into the future. Thought takes us into the past. So when thought comes in the meditation, just stop. Just say, oh, like that. And then let it go. And if we get attached to the thought, we're like, oh my gosh, I won't be able to pay the rent. Oh, I can't afford to put gas in my car, whatever, or some fear, what's going to happen to the economy? If we get attached to the thought, then we get zoomed off into never land of the future that, it's just not true. And based on a idea of perception that we have of ourselves and the world, which is not what the world is. Can you tell me what the world is? No, I don't think you can. I don't think anybody really can, because there's 7 billion or 8 billion different worlds. Everybody has a different world. But there is this one world that was here before we came, will be here after we leave, that we connect with, that we came out of and we go back into. And somehow when we got here, we got disconnected. And what I'm talking about is a simple reconnection. And we can only reconnect in the moment. And then when we're reconnected, we have all the power. The mind has no power. The mind has no power. Love has power. God, as we understand him, in the moment, has all the creative power. So as we connect with that power, we're lifted up, and then our life becomes productive. Our life becomes amazing. We become free. So in the meditation, practice dropping into the moment. Sometimes if the mind is too troublesome, prayer can help. Sometimes, we can just ask the moment. We can say, please, God, bring me back into this, guide me, bring me here now. Or we can say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you is a beautiful mantra, and the mantra will bring us into the moment. So let's practice that. And I think we're going to meditate for about 10 minutes. You going to sit with us, Nathaniel? So I've got, I don't know, what time is it? Oh, I have my phone. I'll set a timer. There we go. Let's do that. So we're set for just about 10 minutes, but just drop into it. And you can do this every day. And we do, even a short meditation every day. It begins the process of really discovering who you are. And it's the road to freedom. So just close your eyes. Just close your eyes. Hopefully you're in a comfortable space. You breathe. The beauty of the breath. Breath is happening right now. But when we're in our breath, we're here, we're present. And we're in our breath. Breath is now. Just let go. Let go of all thoughts of who we think we are. Let go of our body. Let go of our ideas of work. Just for a couple of minutes, let go of relationship. No wife, no husband, just for a couple of minutes. No children. No health, good or bad. No good or bad. Anything. Just the breath. Because wherever you're sitting, there's noise, like the beautiful bird behind me. Just incorporate it in the moment. Bring it into the moment with you. We let go of everything we think we are, all of our identities, all of our stories. What's left beyond everything that we think is that emptiness, that beautiful connection, that beautiful oneness with now. Let go of your name. Mm. Thank you for joining us on that little meditation. Just a couple of things, closing notes. One is that ego will tell you that no, it can't be this simple. That you have to be a lifetime spiritual student and philosophy or theology and this approach is what's called the direct approach, really, to a relationship with the moment, with now, with God that's in this moment, without a knowing, or trying to figure out or understand what that is, that power. A lot of time in life is wasted, trying to figure out, and there's a lot of story around, a lot of certainty of images and concepts of God that actually keep us out of the moment as well. So just recognize that the focus is on surrender, not on achieving. So as we surrender our fears, we surrender our angers, we surrender our selfishness, as we surrender our neediness in relationships, as we let go of our wanting, our desire, we achieve our natural state, which is this oneness with the moment. It's not unnatural, it's natural to be in a state of bliss, in a state of peace. But if we're carrying this load of responsibility to run our lives, then we're stuck in that prison of judgment and fear. And so as we let go of that, we become aware of it. That's called self-awareness, self-realization. We become aware of that and we surrender those things. We then just naturally ascend. Dr. David Hawkins talked about vibration and as we move up into unconditional love and compassion, it's not because we work towards that. It's because we let go of the other and we naturally moved into that. And as we give it away, the beauty of sharing with others, we see ourselves in more. We see ourselves more in others. That's the whole process in the 12-step world is in the 12th step. We see ourselves as we help others. And we're like, oh, another realization. And sometimes we have to see the same thing over and over again until we finally let it go. Say, oh my gosh, that I've been living like that. I'm like that too. I'm dishonest. I'm fearful. I'm, and we see the 100 or 1,000 forms of fear that we have. We let them go. We just let them go and be here now. So it's a beautiful practice, and meditation is part of it. There's many ways. I love the process I did last fall, which is a Zen koan, and the koan was, tell me who you are. And as we went through the process of looking at who we are and answering that question over and over and over again, the enlightenment intensive, it's called, the experience happened. So beautiful. So thank you for tonight. And my plan, I don't know, man makes plans and God smiles, but my plan, it seems to be that we're going to do this all summer here at my home. And thank Nathaniel for sitting in tonight here with me and watching and being part of it. And for those of you that joined us, but we're going to be here, you're invited next Monday night at 7 o'clock. Come and sit with us here and meditate and be part of the discussion. You're also invited to come on the Zoom call. And you're invited to come to the Zoom call next Monday night too. So that's it. We're just going to do it. And then every morning I do a little reading and a conversation at 9 o'clock on Facebook Live. And so love it if you drop in there and join us in the mornings at 9 and share it would be good too. So that's it. One day at a time, one moment at a time. We're here, to experience the love of the moment. And we only miss the love of the moment because we think it should be different. Okay, it's all in the thought. Let it go, surrender. Love you guys. Thanks so much for being here tonight and for just being.